Hello, it's Mr. Turek. This is kind of your first unofficial, official project on Illustrator. I say unofficial because, this is a tool that is just kind of an excuse to get you to use Illustrator first. It's not a tool you're going to use very often. I also want you to get familiar with the program of Illustrator while you kind of play around with it. So you're going to do a quick worksheet, and that's going to familiarize you with the toolbox, navigator, and some basic file stuff, file management. You can read a reading or look at a quick PDF of a tutorial on how to use this tool. Those are optional. If you don't like my video demonstrations or listening to my voice, there's tons of resources I try to provide you with where you can just sort of read or print out and read some kind of written tutorial if that's your preference. I highly recommend you use both the video and the written tutorials, since I've bothered to make both, and I think they can both help you in different ways. You're basically going to be using the pencil tool to draw one of your symbols that you simplified in your drawings. So whatever you chose to draw, you're now going to draw it in Illustrator. And this is just an attempt. You're not going to try to make an accurate reproduction of your symbol, and the only reason I say that is because of the nature of the tool you'll be using. You also have to hand in this file, no matter how crappy it is, digitally via Edmodo. So this is kind of going to acquaint you with that in a way. A lot of my project resource files are linked to Google Drive folders, and when they're linked to those folders in Edmodo, sometimes I believe you're prompted to use your Google account. So if you haven't signed up for one, sign into one and get in the habit of using Chrome and using a Chrome account, or sorry, your Google account with the Chrome browser. The benefit of this is that it'll remember your password for Edmodo if you turn on that feature. All of the folders that get shared with you will be in your Google Drive, and it's a really easy way for you to access the resources for this class. And I will be sharing everything via Google Drive, so get kind of used to just seeing it and working with it, and I'll go over this in the demonstration video too, so don't feel like you need to know everything from just me saying go learn it. Essentially, here's the project. Remember your sketches of your simplified symbol. I showed you a couple examples of those. Whatever it is you chose, you don't have to draw whatever your simplified symbol is, but just keep in mind that you're going to start to take your drawings and digitize them. So this is one way you can do it. And you can see on the right hand side that I tried to draw a flower with the pencil tool, and it doesn't look quite like the drawing, obviously, but I'm happy with it. That's all I'm expecting you to do, is just get kind of a close approximation of what your drawing is. It's not a very easy tool to use, it's not very accurate, but it's something you can use, and it's something you can play with. So now I'm going to kind of demonstrate everything to do with just sort of like the basics of Illustrator and how to use the pencil tool and how to look through resources via Google Drive and the website. Hello, it's Mr. Turek here. I'm going to walk you through basically how to use Edmodo and use the project folders on Google Drive. So this is kind of a test account I made. Your account will obviously look a little different. So to join a group, that's kind of the first thing you need to do. A group is essentially a class. You need to join my class, my group. When you sign in or when you sign up for it, you can actually enter the group code as well. I think you have to do that to get going. But right now I don't have any groups because the group I was originally in got deleted. But if you need to join a group, just enter the group code. I'm just going to copy and paste mine in there. Typically it's a couple of letters and numbers, real short. That code's going to stay active for 16 days, so you have to join it quick. And once you join it, you're in there for good. There shouldn't be any problems. So when I click join here, Group joined successfully, and then the group I'm in will show up over here. And you need to join the comp photo group. If you click on that, that'll take you to the actual class page, and everything I posted to that group will turn up here. So there's a brief introduction down here that you can read, link to the website, and up here is your first assignment. So I'm going to kind of walk you through your first assignment here on Edmodo. You can read the description. The description obviously is also in the PowerPoint presentation in the Google Drive folder. So if I click on that link, that'll bring me to the project folder, and the presentation will be there. Your worksheet you have to do for this assignment will be there, along with other resources. Every project folder I give you for an assignment will have all these resources in there. We're not going to do a lot of worksheets, but I will give you tutorials that you can read. If you just click on one of the resources, it'll open in a preview here. If you don't like this preview, you can click open for Reels, and that'll open it in Google Drive. Kind of gives you a different look and a different layout to reading things. You can always download a file, and if you do that, that'll give you essentially an actual physical file on your computer that you can print or save and open from your computer instead of the web. And usually these resources are just optional resources. Sometimes they're required, like I won't give a demonstration video or make a demonstration video, so you actually have to read the tutorial if you want to complete the assignment, or if you want to complete some extra component to the assignment. And they're valuable in that they have a whole lot more information in them than I'm able to give you in a video. So if you actually bother to read them and look through them, they can be kind of helpful to you, especially if that's how you learn. If you learn by looking at pictures and reading text, great. Use these instead of the videos if that's not your style. We have to do, for this assignment, we have to do a quick worksheet here, which I'll have probably printed out and handed out to you, and I'll walk you through that. And we also have to do a quick assignment where we draw a simple symbol with the pen tool. And so to do that, essentially you're going to open up Illustrator and use the pencil, or not the pen tool, the pencil tool, and you can draw one of the simplified symbols that you drew earlier. Before I skip over there, one of the resources that's missing from here is the actual video file. I will upload that as soon as I make it. I'm currently making it right now, so obviously that file is not visible, but it should be here, and you can click that to watch it in Google Drive, and I'll also post links to those demonstration and lecture videos on the website. If you ever lose track of this folder or the Edmodo assignment, you can always go to the website, and the project folders are contained there. I'm just going to show you that real quick so that you kind of have that as a backup and know what it is. To get to my website, just search or Google Art with Turek, all one word. When you get to the website, there are quick links to the folders on the left-hand side here for you. So if you click on one of these quick links, that'll open up all those folders in Google Drive. And if you remember the name of the assignment, you can find it real easy. I'm going to change it to list view here. So freehand drawing in Illustrator, this is the project we're on. I can click on this, and then I'm right back at the Google Drive folder, the project folder that I need to be at. So this is always a backup kind of resource for you if you need it. You can also go to the class page, scroll down, and then these will be hyperlinked to the resource folders. Another way to reach the files. The reason I'm showing you this is because I want you to have access to everything at all times. So Edmodo's being kind of slow, or Google Drive is being funky, you need to have access to those. And I will hyperlink other parts of this to other parts of the file, like I'll probably hyperlink this over here to the videos, or something like that, so that you have access to those at any point in time on YouTube. So real quick, back to our assignment here. I'm going to open up this worksheet preview here. And actually, I've already got it downloaded since I have the file, so I'm going to keep it over here. But let's minimize this and get into Illustrator. So Illustrator, to open that, you just click the Start menu and then go All Programs, and then you want to find the Adobe Design Standard CS6 folder. I have Adobe Design Standard CS5. That's just an earlier iteration of the program, same difference really. And then click on Illustrator to open that. If you want to create a shortcut for that on your Start menu or your desktop, you can right-click it, and then one of the options will be to pin it to the taskbar, pin it to the Start menu. Mine's already pinned there, so the option is to unpin that. But if you just click that, that'll start the program. Mine is already open, so it's going to load really fast. It just pops right up. Yours is going to take a little while to load, so be patient with that. When it does open, I'm going to walk you through kind of the basics of this without the use of the worksheet. I would, if I were you, have your worksheet on your desk, and as I kind of go through this, sort of write down things or make a note of where to find them. So real quick, first things first, let's just make a new file. So go File, New. The new dialog box will pop up. Make sure you only have one artboard, and then you can give your file a name. The way I want you to name your files is pretty simple. Keep your last name or some part of your unique name at the front of the file, and then try to have the name of the project next. So we're just doing a freehand pencil tool symbol, anything referring to the name of the project in the project file will be great. That makes it easier for me to keep track of that. And then another handy hint is to versionize it. When you versionize something, you just say that, oh, this is the first version of it, so version 1. So like, let's say you make this file and you hand it into Edmodo, and I say you need to make some corrections or something. You can make those corrections and then resubmit that file for a better grade if you want. But in order for me to tell the difference between the two, it's easier if you just label that version 2 or version 3 so that I know it's an updated version of that file instead of your original, so that they don't get confused. Keep it to letter size. There's a bunch of other presets in here. And just click OK to create your file. When it pops up, real quick, some jargon here. Your project window can be released and moved around. I would keep it locked up here. Anytime you move any component, like the toolbox or your panels, when it's highlighted blue like that, that gives you the option to lock it in place to some part of your screen here. So kind of get used to that flexibility. You can always move components around. Like if you want your toolbox to float, you can make it float, or bring it back to the side. You'll see that little blue bar again, and it will snap to that location. So this here is kind of your artboard. It's called the artboard. This is what any artwork on here will print to your paper. If you zoom out, which I'm going to use Ctrl minus key, when you zoom out, that'll kind of let you see more of the scratch area, and that's the area that's around the artboard. Again, to zoom out it's Ctrl minus, and then to zoom in it's Ctrl plus. You can also hold down, I believe, the Control key and use your click scroll key to scroll left or right, and then you can hold down the Alt key and your scroll key on your mouse or your scroll wheel. There we go, that's the word I'm looking for. If you hold down the Alt wheel and use your scroll wheel, you can zoom in and out. So that's kind of handy. Real basic navigation tool. You can also use these on the bottom, but since your scratch area is really large, notice your paper is that tiny little thing in the middle, and there's a bunch of scratch areas. So using these sometimes doesn't really work well. If we want to zoom in back to the artboard real quick, use Control 0, and that'll pop you back into the active artboard. And then you can also use Navigator. Navigator is over here. It's a little ship wheel, and you notice the Navigator here, you got this red box here that in your proxy preview area. You can use this to kind of move around the preview box. You can use the mountains down here to zoom out or zoom in. really handy tool. So like if I zoom way in here, I can move this preview box around to see different parts of my file. When your files get large and complex, this is a really useful tool to use. Okay, so that's Navigator, basics right there. Let's see, what else? Your toolbox is on your left hand side. It has all your tools. I have tool tips turned on, so that means every time I hover over a tool, it will give me the name of that tool. So if you're working on your worksheet here and you're trying to find the names of the tools, just use the tool tips when you hover over them to find the name of the tools, and you will learn all of these tools at one point or another. The tools that you're not supposed to learn already have their names filled out in the worksheet, and chances are you will never use those tools. And we probably won't get to all of the ones I'm going to have you name. I just put them in there simply to get you acquainted with them, and then at some point you will probably use them when you learn something about this program. Let's see next. These on the right are your palettes or your panels. I'll call them palettes sometimes. You can always snag these and drag them wherever you need to put them if you want. I don't like to keep them unorganized like that. I like to keep them grouped in their little groups over here, so if I hover them over a group, they'll kind of stay together as tabs. You just click on them to activate them. If you don't see something like the Navigator panel, you can always go Window and then check the Navigator box. Probably should have started with that, but that's your basic navigation of your file here. So now if we want to use the pencil tool to draw our symbol, I'm going to go over to the toolbox. I'm going to click on the pencil tool. To use the pencil tool, you just simply click and drag, and it will create a path with whatever stroke that's applied to it. The default one is a white fill and a black stroke. I'm going to set the fill to none. Okay. And every time I make a stroke, it'll stay active if that's the default. You can change the defaults by double-clicking on the pencil tool to keep it selected, and you can change, you know, how accurate it is, how smooth it is. If I reset that, this is the default here. So if I click OK, this is how your pencil tool should react. Okay, so I'm drawing a flower here, and notice when it stays selected like it is in the default, I can actually redraw it if I trace over it again. So that's kind of a cool feature of the pencil tool. It can get annoying when you're trying to draw something close to it. So like if I try to draw a petal close to that middle of the flower there, it's going to redraw it. That can be kind of frustrating, so you can double click on the pencil tool to uncheck this keep selected box, or you can hit the Ctrl key, and that toggles you back to your last selection tool, which the selection tool, or the regular selection tool, is my last selection tool. So I can hit Ctrl and then click off of that to deselect it and draw something else. Okay, and that's all you really need to know about the pencil tool. Draw a simple symbol based on whatever you drew in the previous project. My example is a flower, so I'm going to continue drawing this flower. Once you're done, you're going to want to save it. File, save. Save it somewhere where you know you can keep track of it. I would save it to your desktop in a folder that's just labeled project files. And your bigger projects, I will show you how to set up more complex folder organization so that you keep everything straight. But for now, this is kind of a simple project, so you don't really need to do that much. Click Save. And then the Illustrator Options dialog box is going to pop up. Because I use CS5, I'm going to ask that every time you save a file, you save it as a legacy format. You're going to have the option to save it as Illustrator CS5. Please save it as Illustrator CS5. You can save a copy that's CS6 if you want, but when you hand in projects, sometimes I'll have to physically download those files and open them up to look at them and grade them. Sometimes I won't. In order for me to do that, they need to be a CS5 file. So please make sure you save them as a legacy format CS5 file. I will message you via Edmodo and withhold points if I don't have the file I need to grade your file. If that's becomes a common habit, you're going to suffer for it in your grades. So please make sure you hand it in with the proper file format, or hand it in as a PDF, which I'll show you how to do next. Just click OK to save it in a legacy format. You'll notice every time you make a change, this little asterisk will show up. That little asterisk right there means that you've made a change to your file. To quickly save your file, just hit Ctrl S, and that'll save your file. Get in the habit of hitting Ctrl S all the time so that you don't lose any progress if these computers crash. And if you need to hand it in as a PDF, that's really simple. Just go File, Save As, and then instead of saving it as an Adobe Illustrator document, you're going to save it as an Adobe PDF. And then just click Save. This dialog box will open up. You don't need to do anything special here. There's a bunch of compatibility presets you can use and other options. Don't worry about that. Just click Save PDF and you should be good. That's essentially all you need to do for this assignment. Please ask me if you have any questions. Also, search the web if you ever get stuck, or go back to the project folder if you don't know what you're doing. Essentially, this tutorial right here walks over the exact same things I talked about, including a couple of extra things. So, you know, if you get stuck or this isn't helping, do a little bit of research before you start asking questions of me. I've made a video, I've given you tons of resources, and you have the internet, which you can ask an infinite amount of questions. So please exhaust those resources first before talking to me.